Early 2016, I brought home an off-the-track thoroughbred called Spencer, who is registered as Happy Playtime. He was a 5-year-old, and he was around 15-1. He wasn't as big as what he is now, but he had a total of 17 starts with 1 win. My first thought seeing him in the paddock was, oh god, what did I just do? He proceeded to fence walk for the next 2 days, screaming to his friends, which weren't there, but I realised that he was going to be an incredible challenge for me. Our first ride was not to be desired. I realised how much of an issue saddle fitting was going to be, and the lack of brakes and steering that we had all came out when I took him for a ride in a big paddock, and he was like, oh my god, I'm free and I can do whatever I like. So that was our first ride. This is a photo from the first ride, and yep, I'm glad that there was no video. Let's just say that. So financially, I couldn't afford at that time to get another saddle for him, so I started to do a lot of groundwork with him and lunging, and it literally did nothing for him. He was kind of just switched off, just doing what I told him to do, but not really. We weren't really connected at all. And as you can see, he couldn't pick up the right lead. He was very, very, very weak, and it was going to take a lot of time and emotional power to get through it. So winter time came around, and I pretty much had to put most of his training on hold. He had quite bad feet and he kept losing weight, and we just had to kind of let him grow and be a baby, and here he is enjoying lots and lots of grass. Ride him for a little bit for me while I was very unwell, and it was incredible to see what kind of horse that he could be with work. So I found an amazing groundwork trainer who helped me through a lot of his anxiety issues, and I also got my saddle, which was an amazing achievement for my community that got behind me and supported me. Unfortunately, with that, I was like, I need to start showing, I need to start doing this, I need to start doing this, and he was like, oh my god. And we had a rough patch. Taking him out to his first show, he was an absolute mess. He had so much anxiety and he had no idea what was going on, and the riding was even worse, and I honestly I was so selfish, and I realized that now, that I was kind of just wanting to ride and not wanting to admit that he had problems too. So I pushed him and I got a breaking point, and I think every equestrian comes to one of these where they come to a rough patch and you ask something of their horse and they say no. And this is Spencer's worst that I've ever seen him, and it will be the last time that he will ever be like this and be put in a situation that he feels he has no other option but to become tense and full of anxiety. I decided enough was enough, and I just started having weekly lessons with a professional coach, and I started getting results, and we began progressing. So my coach rode him in my lesson, and she realised how much of a horse he was and how much fight he liked to give, and I learnt how to ride him properly and make him work instead of him evading everything. In this time, I think it was around February, he went to my instructor for 2 weeks of training where I saw a lot of improvement in him just being off property, and just a lot of learning went on that 2 weeks. I began having lessons twice a week, once with a dressage trainer and the other with a jump trainer. Not that we did any jumping, but she taught me how to use my body and worked on myself, whereas my dressage coach really worked a lot on getting him working extremely well. We decided to move him to an adjustment property and shit hit the fan, I guess you could say. It was okay for a few months, but he started getting unsound on the footing in the arena, and we were still having the same anxiety issues, and I was kind of at a loss at what to do. And the property owners, as fantastic as they were, they had stallions on the property, and it was just too busy of an environment for him. All the work that we put in over the last 3 months went down the drain, and it was heartbreaking to see the horse that I'd worked so hard for completely vanish. And a lot of it was soundness, a lot of it was anxiety, and a lot of it was me too rushing again and forgetting the real purpose of why I had this horse. I had a lesson with another coach, and she taught me some really good exercises for him, but as you can see on the footing, he was lame and unhappy. He was swishing his tail and was just not a happy horse. At the time, I was getting conflicting information that he was sore, that he was sound, that he was behaviour, and in the end, I knew that this horse was not a behavioural issue. It was because of soundness, and you can see clearly in this clip that he was very uncomfortable, and I made the decision to move adjustments soon after. At the new adjustment, he could finally be paddocked with another horse and have companionship, and he found his friend in a 17 two-hand horse called Jazz, and they are literally best friends, and he is just so much happier to be around with other horses. Moving adjustments meant that I could press the big reset button, and I started from the bottom. I started with lots of groundwork. I don't have any clips of that, but I will probably be doing a video in the future of how I do my groundwork. But I set the reset button and I've got a completely different horse for it. This was probably the first ride that we had back where we were getting somewhere, and I now do groundwork before I ride every single time to turn him on and just see what mood he's in, get him listening, and I have noticed a huge change in him already. Buying an unproven horse for me was daunting as it comes, and I feel like all the work that I've put in, all the work that my trainers have put into me and investing myself and just praying that this works has really paid off. I'm starting to see a huge difference, and this is what he looks like now. His tail swishing has almost subsided completely. His ears are perked almost all the time, and he's just so much happier to work. He starts to come into a frame and work over his back, and he's just so much more pleasurable to ride. He seeks the contact and will go long and low when I ask, and it's just warm fuzzies for me, I guess, just seeing how far he's come from this to this. I needed to make this video for myself to acknowledge how much of a change I've seen in this horse and look forward to the future, and I cannot wait to make another one of these videos in a year's time to show how much improvement we've made I just love sharing this horse's journey with YouTube and all the Instagram fam, if you guys are from Instagram. But I just want to say thank you so much for the support that you've given me, and I wish everyone the same with their horses, whether they have young horses coming, whether you have young horses coming along too. I wish you guys all the best, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!